Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Broken Past. Today we're going to do something a little bit easier. You can see in the background I've actually got some parts of a Nintendo Switch Lite that I've spent the greater part of a week trying to fix. I haven't had much luck with it all week, and I'm kind of looking for a quick win today. And as luck would have it, I actually got a shipment of stuff today from AliExpress. And so I think today is the perfect time to fix something that's been an issue for me for a while. And that is, I have a busted speaker in my new 3DS XL that I need to get fixed. So today we're going to do a real quick walkthrough on what it takes to replace the speakers on a new 3DS XL. Now there are a couple different problems that you could have. One of them is that the speakers, which are attached to the ribbon cable, still work fine. However, the ribbon cable, through constant opening and closing of the shell, eventually rips and tears and causes all sorts of issues. This is not going to be that video today. This one is just simply replacing blown speakers on a new 3DS XL. Now, I've actually already taken care of this once. I found, actually this, I believe right here, is the original speaker that was in the system. This doesn't work. It partially works. It puts out a real little bit of sound, but it's not very good at all. It's pretty much completely blown. So I actually took it out and replaced it with another speaker that I had in my box. However, that speaker didn't come from a 3DS XL. I actually don't know where it came from, and so it sounds a little bit different. So I'm not sure how well this is going to sound on video, but I'll see if I can try to demonstrate. So now I have, it's probably really not going to show up very well, but I have Bravely Default running on my 3DS. And if I crank up the volume and cover one speaker over the other, you'll hopefully hear a difference in the sound. So I'm not sure how well that came across, but the speaker on the right originally was the one that was blown. I replaced it and it still sounds okay, but it's much tinnier than the speaker on the left. So what I'm going to do today is actually go ahead and replace both speakers just to make sure that it's a matching pair when it's all said and done. Now you can see, if you look closely, there are a couple screws here that are missing these black covers. And that's because I broke the covers, or I ripped the covers when I tried taking them off originally. So I went ahead and just ordered some replacement ones of those. I figured I might as well replace those too, make them all look nice when it's all said and done. If you are careful enough, you can take them off without ripping them. I tried, but I didn't have a whole lot of luck, so I figured it's just easier just to go ahead and just buy new ones and call it good. So with that, I'm just going to walk you through the steps to replace the speakers. It's pretty simple. There are a few guides online, but I just wanted a quick, concise guide for any of you who have a broken speaker that want to replace it and just want the walkthrough on exactly how to do that. So it's real simple. First of all, I do have a protective case on my new 3DS XL, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that first just to get it out of the way. Now you should probably also do this with the system turned off. I'm lazy. I just want to do this real quick. It's not a huge deal for me. It's probably best to turn it off before you do this, but I'm just going to do it real quick so it's not a huge deal. For starters, we'll have 4 of these rubber covers over the screws that we need to remove. Again, in my case, I just have 2 because I've ruined those. But we're going to start by removing those. You can remove those in a couple different ways. You could use something like a slightly filed down X-Acto knife or some thin tweezers. But just be careful when you do that you don't accidentally slip and scratch the screen or the case or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove these real quick, what's left of the ones that I had in here. And after that, we have 4 really fine Phillips head screws. I don't know if they are P000 or P00. Again, this screwdriver just says it's a +2 40 millimeter. I don't know what the equivalent size of that is. Something small. Just make sure that you've got a good bite on it so that it doesn't strip the screw. Because if you strip the screw, obviously you've got a bigger problem after that. Make sure you support the screen while you do this. You don't want to put a lot of pressure without it being supported, or you can risk obviously snapping the screen or the hinge or anything like that. And we're just going to remove these 4 screws. Now, in my opinion, the next step is actually the hardest step of all. Looking online, it looked like it was supposed to be really easy. I had a little bit of problem the first time I did it. It should hopefully go easier now. Now that I've removed it once and I've kind of broken the seal from 10 years worth of use of this case. But basically, we're going to take this top shell and we're going to slide it forward. So we're going to slide it, if you're using the system, it's like it's sliding it towards you. There are 3 or 4 little clips back here that need to be slid out of the way, otherwise you'll risk breaking them when you take the system off. And once those are out of the way, the whole top shell will just lift up and off. So what I like to do is kind of hold it towards me, push down in the middle, and slide it towards me, then it just pops right off. Pretty easy to do at that point. And from here we can see, sorry about the glare with the light up above it. And here we have our two speakers, the one on the right and the one on the left, which are held in place with some solder and the wires. And they are just sat in the top of the shell. So actually the one on the right, if we remove it, actually kind of see, let me turn the volume up here. You'll actually be able to hear if we remove it, if you can hear that or not, the music starts. So I believe it's using the magnets in the speaker to detect when the screen is closed and when to go to sleep. So just something interesting, if you do leave it on when you're doing this and you remove the speaker, you'll hear the system start making noise. So just keep that in mind. And from here, if we want to, we can go a lot farther and remove these additional boards. This board controls the volume, has the volume slider built in, and this board controls the 3D slider. Because we don't have to replace the ribbon cable or move anything else like that, you can see here the ribbon cable actually runs under the camera cable, and in the case of the 3DS XL, the eye tracking cable. Because we don't have to do that, I'm just going to leave these screwed in. It's just a lot easier that way. As long as you have a nice pair of tweezers to be able to hold the wires, you can remove the old ones and solder the new ones completely in place. So I'm going to let my soldering iron heat up, and while we do that, I went ahead and bought 2 pairs of speakers just because I wanted to make sure if one of them didn't work, that the other set would work. Actually, I bought 3 pairs. And so it is important to note that the speakers that come on the system are actually 1-watt speakers. I believe they're 8 ohm 1-watt speakers. There's a lot of 1/2 watt speakers online. Don't get those. They're going to be significantly quieter when it's all said and done. So make sure you get the 1-watt 8 ohm speakers to replace this with. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the speaker that I already replaced once. Just making note which side the red wire and which side the black wire are on. You're not going to break anything if you put them on in reverse, but that's going to inverse the waveform between the 2 speakers, and it's not going to sound quite as nice. So just make sure you're aware of which side the speaker wires go for each speaker. From there, quick and easy, I will remove this one. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and tin these just a smidge, just a real little bit of flux, just to make sure that it sits on there nicely. And I probably don't need to do this. It's probably going to be okay, but just to make life a little bit easier. Hold the speaker down with the tweezers, so it doesn't hop up on me, just like that. And oops, go ahead and tin our other speaker. There we go. And getting back to the system, we'll drop our first speaker in. Okay. And then our other speaker. And it looks like, at least with mine, they did put a small little protective spacer between the sets of speakers. Just make sure you remove that. Drop that in and solder this guy back on. let's go ahead and test it real quick just to make sure that those speakers work. And they do. Pretty easy. So at this point, we just put it all back together. So the same steps, just reverse. We're going to start out by putting this back cover on and sliding it away. And in this case, I'll flip it around and slide it towards myself. And you can kind of see how well we can show the angles here. The tabs, I guess there's 5 separate tabs in here that all need to slide in. So we're going to start with it. Make sure everything else is in place. There we go. Sometimes you might just need to wiggle a little bit just to make sure everything fits. And there we are. And again, our speakers are good. So let's go ahead and put in our 4 screws. And there we go. So from there, the last step, again, if you manage to do this without damaging those screw covers, you can just reuse those. In my case, since I did damage them, I'm just going to use 4 out of this kit, and they're really kind of hard to see. And kind of split it out a little bit. You might be able to just barely see them in there. And they just fit right in there. And there we have it. Quick, easy job to replace the speakers on a new 3DS XL. It may seem a little daunting at first. Again, the scariest part is getting these original covers off and then getting the screws out. And then obviously the next step is getting this top cover off. And the cover might be stuck on there pretty well. It might take a little bit of work initially to get it off, but it's not bad. And once you got it off, the soldering of the speakers is the easiest part of the job. The part that seems to be the scariest, actually replacing the speakers, really ends up being the easiest part of the job. So with that, I will put my cover back on and we are done. Once again, just to confirm, we'll turn it on, turn the volume up, volume out of the left and the right. And we are good to go. So with that, again, short and sweet video. Apologies for not having a longer, more in-depth video. But I figured this was a good short how-to video for any of you who have a new 3DS XLs with blown speakers, because they do have a tendency, apparently they are pretty weak speakers, and they do have a tendency to go bad. So if you have one that has broken speakers, I believe a set of these 2 speakers online from a site like AliExpress cost me, I think, $1, maybe $1.50. And a set of these screw covers, which also came with a set of 4 bumper covers for the bottom, if you want those. This set cost something like $1 as well. So all in, maybe $2 to $3 worth of parts and 10, 15, 20 minutes tops worth of your time, you too can replace the speakers of your new 3DS XL and be good to go again for the future. So with that, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.